Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Tour Confidential. I'm Ryan Asselta, and this is a special on-site edition of Tour Confidential. We're here at Shinnecock Hills Golf Club, home of the 118th playing of the United States Open in just a couple weeks' time out here on the east end of Long Island. And I'm excited to be joined this week by the Managing Director of Rules and Open Championships for the USGA, Jeff Hall, and Golf.com's Sean Zock. And guys, just a few weeks away from the US Open, coming back to Shinnecock for the first time in 14 years. And Jeff, this is a little bit different golf course, but true to its roots. 1892 this was built. The Tour Pros haven't played here, though, in 14 years. When it comes to Shinnecock, will this stand the test of time as far as giving the test the USGA wants to the modern-day Tour Pro?
I think so. I think it'll do so in spades. It's going to be a very different golf course than what was presented in 2004. The club has really done a beautiful job working through its restoration of its William Flynn masterpiece. And that restoration has resulted in wider driving corridors, the fairways are much wider, and a putting green restoration where they've recaptured the original design and perimeter of these putting greens so that the strategy that William Flynn built into the golf course is restored. Make no mistake about it. This is one of America's greatest venues. It's an iconic U.S. Open venue, and we're delighted to be back.
Sean, this is a course built 126 years ago. Technology is advanced since those times, obviously, well advanced since 2004. What do you think when you see the way these guys hit the golf ball, the technology that they have? You've been out on this golf course. Can it hold up against these guys?
Yeah, because right now we're probably in the best conditions as far as weather that they're going to see out here. And it's pretty breezy. Like, this will be a golf course with wind on it. They added right around 500 yards worth of length. That plays some type of factor comparing it to 04. As Jeff said, wider fairways. You're going to see guys hitting shots from areas that you didn't really see in 04. So, you know, there's not going to be that much of an experience factor that guys get to play up. So it's going to be tough for people that just have never been out here before.
We've seen the last few years, weather has been such a factor. We saw it at Chambers Bay. We saw it at Oakmont. We, of course, saw it at Erin Hills last year. And the weather expected to be a big factor here in 2018. Tour Pros I've spoken with think the course will no doubt stand the test of time. Tiger Woods, though, recently said if it doesn't blow here, the scores could be very low. Sean, after what we saw last year at Erin Hills, with Brooks Koepka, the way he performed, the scores being low, should the USGA bulk up a little bit this year and really get back to giving the toughest test in golf and protecting, as we always hear, pars, what's protected at the US Open?
Well, if you think about Brooks Koepka, if he doesn't play that week, the scores that won are at 12 under. Brooks got to 16, but he was kind of an outlier if you think about it. He played the course better than anybody. He demolished it, but Erin Hills was kind of tame as far as the weather conditions go. I think you can kind of trust in the weather that you're going to get out here. It's going to be a little bit windier. I don't know if the USGA has to do that much besides what they've done already. You know, the added length, the wider fairways, they're going to have angles that players just haven't played from. So they're going to have only a few days to prep for that. I mean, it will be a guaranteed tough event and a tough course, kind of regardless of what they do to it.
Jeff, what can the organization do in case you don't get that wind to still provide a strong, tough test and not see what we've seen possibly last year at Erin Hills to protect Shinnecock?
Well, listen, Mother Nature gets a seat at the table, and we can't really predict what's going to happen. We've had 3 years in a row where the weather didn't work in our favor. We're due for a good weather week for the US Open, so certainly we hope that's the case. But it's not about what we do. If we're in control of the water and it's a firm golf course, that type of presentation really is what Shinnecock is all about. If we're not in control of the water and we have a softer golf course, these are the best players in the world. And you give them a number, 168 yards. If it's receptive, they probably can just take out 3 clubs out of their bag and carry it 168 yards pretty routinely in their preparation and with their skill set. We believe the driving corridors are, again, more the way William Flynn wanted them. The strategy is back in the golf course, but with those wider corridors, and they're about 41 yards wide in the drive zone as opposed to 26 yards wide in 2004, you get off the fairway, the fescue's growing. I think with the rain we've had the last couple of days and the sun today, I think we can almost hear the fescue growing out there. And that will be the difference. If you get out of play, trying to recover from that fescue is going to be a challenge. If it's firm and fast, and we get typical Shinnecock weather, I think it'll be all they want.
Pretty interesting, Sean, to hear. We talked about the Tour Pro and technology is modernized. Well, the USGA and their technology is modernized as well. That must make you feel comfortable as someone who wants to protect the integrity of an old golf course like this.
More data, the better, right? I mean, we've seen the last couple U.S. Opens maybe be criticized because they're at Chambers Bay and at Erin Hills, and those were new venues. I think you just really need to trust in the classic venue, trust in places like Pinehurst, like Shinnecock, like Oakmont, that really have always kind of delivered when the stage was brightest. And I think that maybe Erin Hills and Chambers Bay, when they have more data, when you get to a future where there's more events that have been held at these venues, you learn a lot, right? You guys end up learning more from every event that comes through there, and you apply it to the next one.
No doubt about it. We have learnings year over year, and this data helps us inform our decisions. We learned a lot about Erin Hills. We learned a lot about Chambers Bay. And if we have the opportunity to go back, we'll be able to apply our learnings and do a better job.
We obviously don't know what the weather will bring in mid-June, but we can all agree it is a spectacular setting for the 118th U.S. Open in just a couple weeks' time. Sean Zock, Jeff Hall, thanks so much for being with us, and thanks for joining us on this edition of Tour Confidential. We'll see you again right here on Golf.com next week.